had said that you had just sold your Dumble amps. What brought you back to them?
It's a lot of money sitting around. You know what I
but
mean?
when does that bother you? What's been making you play Fender Telecasters lately?
I was just trying to write stuff like Jimmy Page did in the 70s.
Is there something that you could throw out to us to go on Reverb and buy that might not be so expensive? Enough. I wanted to ask you, I was watching the performance of you at the Hollywood Bowl with the 40-piece orchestra. Amazing performance. What were those clear amps you had behind you?
Ow, hurt myself. Those were a good idea that didn't sound very good. And
what was this?
My rig was off stage for the orchestra, so the whole rig was pushed off stage. To have something on there that resembled a guitar amp, about 5 years ago, Fender and I built these acrylic tweed twins, the only two in the world. They weigh about 200 pounds, and they don't sound very good, but if you stick a LED in the back, they light up in weird colors. They're very cool. I've never used them on stage, and I said, here's the opportunity. Hollywood Bowl, let's get the acrylic twins out. And they were just for show. Yeah.
Oh, so there was no sound coming out of them?
No, the orchestra don't like guitars, especially loud.
They looked great. I heard you say in an interview from 2016 that at one point in this interview, you had said that you had just sold your Dumble amps and that they weren't working for you. And now you're obviously playing Dumble amps. Why did you've got a lot of them. Why did you sell them in 2016? Why did they not work for you then? And what brought you back to them where now, you're playing them all the time?
I got out of the whole, I got into just straight into the tweeds for a long time after the Three Kings. And I got tired of trying to go around and around and using too complicated of a rig to not achieve the same, to achieve the same result as plugging straight in. 2020 rolls around, and I repurchased a couple at that point. And 2020 rolls around, and I built this 3-piece rig for when we're going to go about and do those shows that could only have 25% of the people, and we were just doing power trio. And I brought back the old amp shanty from years ago, and I plugged them all in. Same wiring, same pedal board, same everything. And I said, man, I've been missing the boat. So they're back. And now I have 8 of them, which is too much for anybody.
But why didn't you like them in 2016? Because you were just playing the tweeds and you were just into the tweed thing and you just weren't vibing with them?
A lot of money sitting around. You know what I mean?
But when does that bother you? Because you have a lot of money wrapped up in a lot of gear.
I know, but I probably sold them in 2016 because I was funding Flying V's or Sunburst Les Pauls. It's an expensive hop. And I got a couple of stupid offers on these things, and I just was like, I'm dumb not to take it. But now they're twice as much as they were when I sold the original package. It's just collectors do weird things.
So then when did you get back into them, or what was the one what was the first one that you got back after?
The Liskin, the one that's on stage now. There's 3 on stage now. But the Liskin combo. I was like, yes, this is real deal. And then I got a second one, and then Escalates. And then the crown jewel of them all is the Lowell George. That one came to me after a 15-year search, or I knew where it was. This guy wasn't ready to sell it. And I lost out on that in 2011, and it came to me this year, and no regrets. It's a pretty special piece of rock and roll history.
What's been making you play Fender Telecasters lately? I feel like you've got a 68 that you've been playing, and you had on a couple songs like Time Clocks, which I love that Fender part.
I was just trying to write stuff like Jimmy Page did in the 70s, and I have this killer Fender Tele with the old Parsons white, and it's like it just works, But the thing about a B-bender is especially if you think you get fancy with that, you can clam so hard because you're one step away from oops, shouldn't have done that. That it's only a half step.
But you got the bender, and then you said, I got to write something with this, and that's how you wrote the song Time Clocks with that bender, that great bender part in the verse.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wrote it on that guitar. And it's just a cool guitar to have as a studio tool. And I used it live, too. I used it for a long time live.
Makes sense. Okay, I know we're running out of time here. Is there some piece of vintage gear or something that if you want to buy something, you talk about Gibson amps are a great deal compared to Tweeds, or is there something that you could throw out to us to go on Reverb and buy that might not be so expensive that would be a really cool, really great piece of gear?
Lab Series L5, 212s of here. Those things sound great. A Lab Series L5 from the 70s. I would also say a Stovetech MiG 50, which is basically a basement head. MiG 60s are good. You don't have to spend a lot of money. A PV Classic 30 gets you home. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be bourgeois. I'm the king cork sniffer. I'm telling you that. You know, and I've seen Robin Ford play rented twins and sound like Robin Ford. You're gonna sound like you. You know, I've also seen him use the Dumble, and it sounded amazing. But he also sounds amazing through a rented twin. He's Robin Ford, and that's really the bottom line. You know, and my thing is don't read. Well, you can read, but don't take as gospel internet information written by people that don't have gigs play. Like in my experience, those are the loudest voices and also the most uninformed, because the people that don't chime in are actually too busy gigging and figuring it out.